Добрый день, всем доброго времени суток. Сегодня у нас в гостях Swami Nityananda Giri, замечательный гималайский учитель, учитель крия-йоги. На самом деле я знаком с вами же достаточно давно, мы знакомы более 10 лет, и сегодня мы находимся в центре Кадуцей. Сейчас начинается очень интересная программа по практикам крия-йоги. Это практики, связанные с дыханием, наука дыхания, так еще называют практику крия-йоги. Сегодня мы будем говорить с учителем о практиках именно прежде всего крия-йоги. Nityananda, can you say a few words? What does it mean Kriya Yoga? What is the difference between Kriya Yoga and any other kind of yoga, any yoga tradition?
Kriya Yoga is the practice part of yoga. If you say what is the difference between Kriya Yoga and other systems of yoga, this question arises because of many new age techniques, which does not conform to the basic principles of yoga. That is why we should know what actually yoga means. This yoga term has two meanings. One is union, another is samadhi. Union with our own source, or union of individual consciousness with the cosmic consciousness. Actually, we do not have to unite anything. We are already united. Due to ignorance, we feel that we are separated. That ignorance is to be removed. And that ignorance is removed in samadhi. That is why yoga is called samadhi. Because in samadhi, all the different applications of mind are halted. And in a still mind, the consciousness is reflected. That is why both has a same meaning. And to achieve that path, we have to do certain techniques. Certain procedures has to be followed. That has been named as a Kriya Yoga.
But can I ask you, normally people when they go to any yoga classes or fitness club, for example, they normally think about yoga as a physical postures.
That is because of our wrong identity. We feel ourselves as the body. We are not the body. This is our body. Even we are not the mind ego complex. This mind is also my mind. I myself is something else. Due to wrong identity, I think myself as body. That is why I think that yoga is something to do with the body.
Mm-hmm. But what does it mean meditation or Kriya Yoga meditation? Because normally, as we know, people call that a Kriya Yoga is a science of breath. What does it mean that Kriya Yoga is a science of breath?
It needs little more elaboration. Actually, it is the science of prana. The Sanskrit term is prana. In English, we translate it as the life force. But actually, prana has a very wider meaning. In Prasnopunishads, it is said, Sa pranam asrujata. That means the first creation of the transcendental Lord is the prana. We can say the total energy. But when we say life force, why life force is important? That consciousness, that energy has been dichotomized into two distinct branches. One is mind, another is the vital force. Now mind and vital force, in total you can call it as the life force. But vital force has also a great role to play, because purpose of the practice is to halt all the applications of mind. Then we have to see where our mind takes rest. Now we are in a waking state. In waking state, our physical body, sense organs, organs of action, mind, everything works. But to the center of this is the mind. Then we can go to sleep and enter a dream state. In dream state, our eyes is not working, ears not working, no sense organ is working, action organs, we are not working in hand, we are not walking in leg, so no work is there. Physical body is just innate. But we can have all sorts of experiences in dream, like visiting a place, visiting the friends, hearing music, everything we can have. All these things are done with our mind. Then we also everyday experience a third state, that we call it the deep sleep state. In deep sleep state, we do not have the feeling of the mind. But after we get up, we have a feeling that I have a good sleep. That means my mind was there, taking rest at some place, and activities are not there. But we do not have the knowledge of that state because we are in sloth, we are in sleep. The clue is here that the mind was taking rest. The activities of mind is rested. Purpose of yoga is only to do the same thing, to take the mind into a state of rest, into a state of no action, but with full awareness, not in the sloth.
So it's not like when we are sleeping and taking rest, but we are consciously taking
rest. We can
rest.
say meditation is a conscious sleep, where sleep is unconscious meditation.
Again, quite many people...
no, let me complete it here. Your question was why breath?
Yeah.
Why we call it a meditation of breath? When we are in deep sleep, who was awake? Physical body was sleeping. The subtle body, that means mind, ego, subconscious, intellect, they are also sleeping. Then who was awake? It was only the life force that was awake. It was only the breath was awake. That means our mind has taken rest in our life force. We have to do the same process. That means to give rest to the mind with the life force in an awakening state. Now to go to our subtle life force, we have with us the manifestation of life force, that is breath. That is why breath is important. And this is a breath-based technique.
So many people, different people, better to say, make decision to start yoga practice and meditation practice because of many different reasons and many different motivations, let us say. And one of them is a self-inquiry and a purely spiritual one. But another one is good health, including mental health. And when somebody is practice Kriya yoga, how can it influence my spiritual progress, and as well how it can influence people's good health or freedom from many problems like depression or any diseases or any mental inner conflict, including...
First, let us discuss the physical part. Physical illness is a manifestation of mental illness. If we look into the diseases, we find 90% of our diseases are psychosomatic diseases. Only 10% are infectious diseases. So psychosomatic diseases, what is the cause? It is the mind. In Sanskrit, we call it adhi, means disease of mind. First it is adhi, then adhi becomes vyadhi. Vyadhi is the disease of the body.
Physical.
So if we have a peaceful mind, if we have a mind that is in bliss, we will not have the psychosomatic diseases like the hypertension, depression, then blood sugar, all these things. So we will cure many of the 90% of diseases are cured. We will not have, will take place. Now take the 10% that is infectious disease. Infectious diseases are due to the infection of the microorganisms within our body. And microorganisms, they cause disease when our immunity system does not succeed against them. That means they overpower our immunity system. Here also the mind takes a role. If our mind is very strong, if our mind is in peace, then our body immunity will also be strong. I does not say that there will not be any infectious diseases, but even in infectious diseases, we will have a positive point. We will have a strong point, and not to be easily infected by the diseases. This was the physical aspect. Now coming to the mental aspect, people talk about self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is a path in the path of knowledge. Very few people can do that, not all people can do that. Then should we leave all these people to not to do anything? Because this needs a sharp intellect. But by the practice of yoga, by practice of giving rest to the mind, we develop our discriminating intellect. And developing the discriminating intellect, we called it Vivek Buddhi in Sanskrit, that helps us, or that makes us capable of self-inquiry. Whereas a normal human being with an restless mind is not capable of making self-inquiry. So even if you take self-inquiry as a practice, for that first we have to resort to yoga, to mind control.
Okay, but nowadays there are many so-called teachers, philosophers, especially when we speak about so-called New Age spirituality, and now we have many books, many so-called satsangs and lectures when different teachers, they proclaim that if we are from the very beginning absolute consciousness, we can call it true self or consciousness, then why we need to practice? I mean, now many people say we don't need to practice because from the very beginning we are absolute consciousness, and then they start to speak in such a way like, okay, if I'm going to practice meditation, the who going to practice? My ego going to practice and reach certain state. So finally, no need to practice meditation. And quite many people believe in that nice idea that if I'm from the very beginning perfect and consciousness, it means I can't even reach enlightenment because I'm enlightened from the very beginning, and but the question is, who is practicing meditation, and is it really necessary for experience to practice meditation, or is it enough just, okay, go to lecture, read book, then receive certain blessings inside, and that's all?
All these talks are self-contradictory. Why I say self-contradictory? If you are consciousness, of course we all are consciousness, but if you have the knowledge, then why comes the question of ego? Why you are in suffering? One who knows the self, who has eradicated the ignorance. Actually, ignorance is eradicated when we have the knowledge. There is no need for practice after that. Once we cross the river, we do not need to carry the boat on our shoulders.
Yes, yes.
But have you crossed the river?
No, but many people say, okay, I'm from the very beginning already that, which means consciousness.
Such type of people are very rare, very rare. Maybe one or two in a particular time. And many people claiming that is against the ruling of the scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita it was said that Bahuni Janmanamante Jnanavanvam Prapadyate. After many lives, one knowledgeable person gets me. Again it says Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Among the thousands human beings one attains. And if there are so many people in that state, then it goes against the ruling of the scriptures. Okay, forget that. Does their behavior, does their work in the society, does their statements reflect what they say? Then, okay, if you are also that, then how you say others not to practice? If I am in suffering, if I am not in knowledge, and if I have my problems, I have to eradicate my problems. With an identity, with body-mind interaction, I cannot say that I am a knowledgeable person. That one, each person has to see himself, to ask for himself, whether he has the identity with the cosmic consciousness or transcendental self, or with the individual self.
So it means that it's like two separate things. I mean, to know something intellectually and experience something mystically.
Yes,
so it means
exactly.
if we want to know something, then we can just read books, that's enough. Or if we want to mystically, spiritually experience that consciousness, which is our true self, it means we have to practice meditation.
Exactly, exactly. That is intellectual knowledge. We read the book and the book says that I am the truth principle, I am the consciousness principle, I am the bliss principle. No doubt in that. But that is just an intellectual knowledge. When comes into application, they forget. They come to the body sense, they come to the mind sense, they come to the I thought, ego. And all this knowledge, intellectual knowledge, goes in vain. To be established in that knowledge, we need practice.
But at the same time, may we say that still to have this intellectual knowledge as the foundation for meditation is also important, because if people just meditate and they don't know for what, it's also kind of maybe mistake. But so better to combine two things: intellectual knowledge, scriptures, philosophy, with meditation. Am I right?
You should have intellectual knowledge as well as practice. But if you have only intellectual knowledge, no practice, that is harmful. Better have the practice and not to have this intellectual knowledge, that is good.
Even better.
Even better.
But, okay, but if just to practice meditation without any scriptural, philosophical knowledge, what will happen? If I just practice meditation without reading books, what will happen?
You will know. If you are practicing the proper meditation, you will know.
So anyway, experience will come.
But what this intellectual knowledge or scriptures or the experiences of the realized masters helps us that what we are experiencing, what knowledge we are getting, whether it is a true knowledge or a product of our imagination, a product of our fantasy, we can check it that from the scriptures, from the intellectual knowledges that has been laid down by the ancient rishis.
So it means important not to just go and learn some meditation from any person whom we don't know, but important this first of all to be sure that the person who is going to teach us belong to proper tradition and knows proper technique. So it means important the source of meditation.
Two things, teacher and the technique, most of that important. Now disciple is also the important, because if I am practicing a proper technique sincerely, I am bound to improve, but foundation should be correct. Now if I am practicing sincerely, doing justice to the technique and not improving, then I have to evaluate myself, see that whether the technique is correct or not, whether the master who taught me has taught me the right thing or not. And simply without evaluating, if I go on following blindly, then I am not going to get the proper result.
So it means it's a natural in the cave, people first come to one tradition, try it and then go to the next. It's also part of process. Or is it something wrong with that?
No, it is a part of the process, but if we have to take also the experiences of others who has passed in the path. Suppose if I have spent 40 years of time in simply exploring and I have my knowledge, I came to the right path. So my experience can be taken by others so that he or she will not unnecessarily lose the years. Rather, he or she can be benefited and directly come to the right path.
But it's like yesterday a friend of mine asked you, how can we know that I am really growing?
That is what our self-evaluation. I have to find out that how is my reactions to the society, to the events, to the persons, how it was before I practice and how after as I spend time in the practice and grow with the situation. Am I reacting in the same way? Am I being delusioned in the same way? Am I in a adverse situation is behaving with anger or frustration or fear in the same way as I was doing in the previously before my practice? And if it is in the same way, then I am not progressing.
It means, okay, but sometimes people say that, okay, how can I know that I have a progress? And mostly people say, okay, if I have certain mystical experiences, vision of Krishna and Jesus, it means, okay, this is result. But you are speaking about very simple things, like my reaction to the outside world, maybe my relatives or people in the office. What is more important, what is more clear indicate that I am growing? My visions or...
No, I will not say the visions. Visions are the manifestations of my subconscious mind. Whatever I will practice, good or bad, in meditation, when I silent my mind, from my subconscious, those things will come up. Because everything we do, everything we think, they have an imprint on our mind. And that imprint is in the subconsciousness. And in meditation, that will take a form. And that will come as an experience. And if I say that I am growing, then I am cheating myself. This is a manifestation of my own subconsciousness. My growth is that how I react within me to the situations. Because events and persons outside are not in my control. But my inner things are in my control. So, events are outside. But how my mind, my internal instrument reacts to those things, that is important. That will show whether I am growing or not.
And can we say that, okay, if maybe seemingly very simple experiences like peace, bliss, is also indications
Yes.
of my progress, even more than if I'll see
Yes,
Krishna
yes.
and Jesus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Peace, bliss.
So, the next question which I want to ask you is about sometimes people say that, okay, if I'll start to practice yoga, including Kriya yoga or any other kind of meditation, then for sure I can lose my connection with the society, family and the business and end up as the cave yogi. But sometimes at the same time, sometimes people say that no, it's if you will practice proper meditation, for example, Kriya yoga meditation, you will be just better part of society at the same time. For example, if you properly practice meditation, you can be better family person, better manager, better leader even in society. Is there any contradiction between social success, social life and practice of meditation?
No contradiction. Because you look, all our ancient rishis, they are family people, family persons. And they have achieved success in all the fields by this practice of this yoga and spiritualism. Because a developed mind with an discriminating intellect, a concentrated mind with a discriminating intellect is key to success in every field. Why people think like this? Because there are two stages of the practice. To have some spiritual experiences or to reach to a state of peace and bliss, we need intense practice. And that is why in scriptures it is said that one should go in seclusion. As in Bhagavad Gita it said, Aratir Jana Sansati. No attachment to the crowd, to the contact with the people. Because if I isolate myself, the purpose of intense practice, I have to remain aloof from the others. In the words of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, that a tree, when it is a small tree, just a small plant, you need to fence it so that it can grow. But after it becomes a big tree, no fence is required. You can chain an elephant to that tree. It is like that. So in the beginning, for an intensive practice, we may need to separate ourselves from the society, not to mix with the many people. But when one has grown enough, then he can work with the society and know. When we will work with the society, mix with the people, then we will know how far our mind has been grown, whether the attachments and aversions in mind are working as it was working previously, or really I have grown. No, that is the test.
But at the same time the question is, so it means, can I be in society, I mean in family, business, social life, and the same, for example, every morning and every evening practice certain meditation and grow, or must I go for a few years
Yes.
into the forest, for example?
No. It depends upon the person. One can even grow with regular practice for few hours in a day, but most important thing is maintaining the regularity, a continuous practice, uninterrupted practice for a long period. That helps. But simultaneously we can take some leave. As we are going on a vacation, we can take a leave and practice as a retreat, in a self-retreat for intense practice. Choice is ours. If I want to take that, no, I will go for a longer retreat, that I have to do. And if someone wants, no, I have other duties to cater, so I can take some short retreats. These things help. But most important is regularity in the practice.
So it means if, for example, we'll practice meditation for a few weeks or a few months, we may not experience real results. But okay, for how long must we practice? Is it personal or any?
This varies from person to person. We cannot generalize all the persons. Because we find even some people, they have the knowledge from the childhood. Some people achieve success in few attempts. For some people it has to work hard. Because the impressions on our mind are different. We do not know how much we have stored in our mind
From past
lives. Also, you see, every person is different. Some person is very calm, some person is restless, some person is lazy. So how we can generalize that it is like a course, that a 2-year course or 3-year degree course or 2-year diploma course. We can't make it like that.
So it can't be guaranteed like in a few months or in 2 years. It's a personal.
It cannot be done like that.
So it means when we'll achieve peace of mind, good health, state of bliss, it's personal.
But from the beginning of the practice, if one sincerely practices, he will grow from his previous state.
So, thank you very much, Swamiji. Итак, мы сегодня беседовали с Свами Нитянанда Гири. Я благодарю вас за то, что вы приняли участие в нашей беседе. Нас уже поджимает время, мы должны начинать наш интереснейший семинар. Я благодарю вас еще раз, храни вас Господи, и до следующих встреч.